Hello, everyone, and welcome to another stream. So sorry about the delay starting the stream, 5 minutes or so. But yeah, so let me start off just as usual with some of the updates from the past week. Hey, VDS, welcome, welcome. And as you can see, we got some fancily dressed NPCs over here. And what you'll notice is, these are some metahumans. Um, Another thing that I also wanted to show related to metahumans is some of the LODs. So as you can see, they're all like behaving as they should. Some of these clothes don't have LODs on just yet, but we'll take a look at some of that. What I wanted to do for the stream today is kind of show you the process that I've just kind of come across this past week in getting some of these assets are from Sketchfab, like especially like these pants with the shoes and the jacket. This jacket is actually from an existing package that I had off of the marketplace, but they're all parented now to the metahuman characters. So now if I was to just quickly show you jump into game mode, um, they all behave as you would thought they do. I mean, her name is also John, but it's the same character. There's a little bit of an issue, especially with this one asset, about the when it comes to the weight blending around the neck, and I'll show you this tool that I've been using to create to match these. And we'll kind of go over that, a little bit of the issues, if you really want to be particular, what you can change. But um, but yeah, let's get to it. So first things first, I've downloaded a bunch of these clothing assets off of Sketchfab, and of course, authors to be credited in the credits for the game. And let me show you the process that I have because a lot of these assets I ended up just retexturing it and applying some better textures through Mixer. And I'll show you a couple of the examples and how I went about doing it. Okay, well, first things first, let me open up some of the downloaded assets that I had for like clothing, and kind of we can start from, let's say, zero, and actually bring in one of these assets into the engine. Let me figure out one of, like, as you can see here, I've downloaded quite a bunch of them, and I've made it so that changing some of the textures around could add some variety to things, and just changing, maybe just a base, like the tint or something like that. And yeah, let's see. I'm trying to figure out because there's a lot of, again, a lot of variety in quality of some of these, and some of them are great. Some of them I needed to. I pretty much did a complete retexturing on all of them, but let's see which one was best. And I think to find it, what I'm gonna do is I am going to open Mixer because I use Mixer to texture all of these. So Quixel Mixer. And I'll try and open a few of the ones that I've already done so we can take a look at it and see how it works. And hopefully Mixer is gonna fire up because it's still unfortunately unabandoned from what it looks like as semi-abandoned um, project from Epic, unfortunately, which is really sad because um, it works out really good for texturing things. So yeah, as you can see, I have a bunch of jackets and some pants, and let's take a look. What I was thinking of getting is let me scroll through some of these. We'll try and get one that's somewhat simple. Let's do like a woman's jacket because there's actually mostly like just kind of men's clothing, and So we'll use this woman's jacket for now. So this is going to be the version of it, with it textured. So there we go. This particular asset came off of Sketchfab, and actually I can show you exactly which one this is. I was kind of lining up some of the hats as well because with Metahumans, the hair kind of takes quite a bit of performance. Of course, you can always switch to using, cards for the hair like I'm doing, but they look a little off. So I'm also looking into getting some hats, which can be just attached as a simple mesh. But let me take a look. I'm gonna look at this collections here of the assets that I've already downloaded that folks I need to credit them. So let me find the one here. Okay. So this is how the original one is. This particular asset, this coming from Sketchfab, and all that I did, it already comes with a really nice set of textures and normal maps and all that. So what I did is I brought it into a mixer, and in here there's actually, I believe there's two. Yeah, there's two materials. And in here, what I did is whenever you start up Mixer, and actually let's do it and retexture one of these items from scratch, just so you get an idea of what went into this because it's actually kind of fun. A couple of the things that I might not show is, or maybe we can look at that as well. Uh, with Mixer, as opposed to Substance Painter, you need to have an ID map. So if you look at the ID map, you'll see that, let me see if I got the right layer. Thought I did. That's interesting. Maybe I was hoping that I could show you how yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is what turns into this is how I've made um, the ID map. Basically, I've actually cheated on this a little bit. I've used Substance Painter to be able to select. Let's actually go into Substance Painter, and hopefully I still have this one open. Now I use a extremely old version of Substance Painter, but the basics are still there. Let me see. Hopefully I can find this particular one, and even if I can't, at least I can show you what I did to create an ID map. So what Substance Painter has really nice, and I think it works better than Mixer, is the ability to paint. And I think I'm not very good with Mixer when it comes to painting and creating an ID map, but in Substance Painter, um, what I did is I've created a bunch of layers of different colors and added masks to them. So on each one of these masks, the nice thing about Substance Painter is you can select UVs, you can select polygons here, you can select like a complete mesh. So it's a lot easy to assign to create this ID map so I can like texture certain areas with different materials. And basically that's what I'm using here is the same way creating an ID map and using it in Substance Painter to assign different materials, like this oily metal that shows up on like the buttons, the zipper, like all the what you would expect to be like metal parts, these little rivets around here. So yeah, there we go. Now this is kind of part one, right? I wanted to be able to give a little bit of a different look to it than the original asset coming from Sketchfab, which, its own, it looks amazing. It's a really good asset. And what I am using still is the normal map because, yeah, you want to have those details in there, with the normal. And based on the normal, when you apply the smart material, you can get like these kind of wear level around some of the creases and around some of the folds. So that's what the normal is so important. Okay, so now this one's here, and what I wanted to show you is kind of the process of getting it from here. This is pretty straightforward. You download the FBX from Sketchfab, you import it into here along with, so whenever you do the setup in Mixer, you can do, you set it as a custom model and you import it. And what we could do is I'll show you how to texture one of these, and kind of starting from scratch. Once you bring it in from Sketchfab, we texture it here, and then we export it. So what I'll do is actually let's use this one and basically just start from scratch texturing this asset. So let me save this as woman jacket tutorial. All right, so then I can like mess around with removing everything and you know starting from scratch. I guess it doesn't like me removing one of these last items. All right, so let's do the setup. So basically the setup is I just, like I said, I select custom model, and for the model, I got this woman's jacket, which is just the FBX that I download from Sketchfab. And then you can go in here and edit texture sets. So in texture sets, if you find one of these on Sketchfab, they normally come with a normal also. Some of them are like the high poly assets, so they don't really work out so well. So I try to find some that are low poly, so it looks like there was a bake that happened with them. Okay, so once you assign the normals, let me just clear this out and we'll see how it looks. So as you can see, there's still some detail, which is great, but if you apply a smart material, it's not gonna you're not gonna be able to get the wear that the normal provides. All right, so let me do, let's see if I can undo here. I can't, I've downloaded so many that now I'm kind of lost into the naming, and I should have done a better job in naming these. All right, so this one, I have it in here. Like I said, I already have an ID map. As you can see, there's like a bunch of numbers, a bunch of colors here that I've created in Substance Painter, just like I showed. Now this one can be done as well in Blender, and I believe I did make a video a while back as to how to bake that ID map. So you can select items in Blender and then kind of bake it to an ID map that you can use here. It's a lot quicker and easier to do in Substance Painter, but again, this was a paid app at you know 6 years ago when I had it. But so I'm still using the old ancient version, so to speak. Still works. All right, so once you have everything in here, now let's just go about adding things to this layer set. So you will see you'll have each one of these layer sets can be assigned to basically a material, because I believe this one has two materials, this particular asset. All right, so this one, this is T-Jacket 1. So in my local library, I'm just going to go and sort by smart materials, and let's look for some leather. There's quite some variety in here. For me, the one that has worked best is this particular one, like old jacket leather, and it's pretty much magic to some extent, but you understand what's happening. The each one of these layers, like this edge wear, as you can see, it adds that based on a set of a set of masks like I think these are called like a mask component, right? So you got the brake mask, everything adds a little bit of detail, kind of the details mask. That's not so much. The projection, then the grunge, that one's still kind of not visible. But then there's the edge wear. So the edge wear is where it's at. And you can apply it to edges only. You can see like most of the edges are affected. Then cavities only, a little bit less, edges and cavities, and the best is the curvature, and you can control it that way. And of course, just adjusting the tightness could make it, more worn down or not. Also, the levels gives you quite a bit of control here. All right, so I'm just going to keep it like this, but I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this alpha to make it a little bit more closer to the color of the material itself. It was it really looked like it went through like a scraper, like a sander. So there we go. I think I'll keep it like this. And now, so I have the jacket, the kind of the leather, but I also want to add something for like the buttons, something for like these little the zipper, these I'm not sure what you call these, like these little uh, strings. Anyways, so let's add some of that. So I'm gonna look for some metal, and this oily metal is actually a really nicely made um, a really nicely made smart material. Okay, so now since they're overlapping, I'm gonna need to right click and add an ID mask on each one. So you can now select it if you know what these are, but the way to do it is I can just press Q, and then for the oily metal, I'm gonna select this bright blue, and there you go, it gets applied um, to where the bright blue is. And then for the old jacket, I can just do this white, so I can have them, separated a little bit better. Okay, go starts. Based on last stream, would the voice acting cost too much? Oh, that's a good point. Thank you so much for asking. Um, yeah, I think is um, is um, is pretty expensive. I guess it all depends on how much um, how much voice acting you need and how many different voices, right? Because if you're gonna have like I have a bunch of different NPCs with different voices, they might not be doable for like all the voice actors that you might find. So you might need to hire, a few different voice actors. And um, if I would have had the finances, then totally, I would have done that. But I don't, so I am, going with the AI generated voices. You know, that is also difficult to get to be realistic, when it comes to that to that so it doesn't sound as like AI as much because I have noticed with mine, doing a bunch of, the play testing and just jumping into game and interacting with that and hearing that same line a bunch of times, it not maybe it's just for me being repetitive, but it does start to sound like a little robotic. So with that said, um, I'm guessing if you're not looking for somebody that is from the US, you might find a much cheaper version, but I have talked to a few folks that were um, that are voice acting folks, and they're pretty expensive per minute. And I totally get it. It takes work, but I mean, at least in the current phase where I'm trying to like prototype this and get all the facial animations working with the audio, it is um, it is pretty tough to spend money up front on something that I'm still prototyping. maybe once everything is in place and I'm happy with how the dialogues are going, and some of these characters, the AI voices that I find really sound robotic or like AI generated, then I might be thinking about, trying to find a voice actor. But yeah, and like I said, outside of the US and farther, I think farther east, like Asia is a lot cheaper than like voice actors from Asia would probably come in a lot cheaper than people in the US, like as is with things, right? So hopefully that gives you an idea, at least what my plan is. Yeah. So, first have a really solid setup for the dialogues, and after that, kind of analyzing and seeing which one of these would really benefit from a voice actor. And hopefully that made sense. At least that's how I'm planning on doing it. All right, so back to this jacket here. Now, I wanted to also add like some kind of a plastic for those little pieces around. Let's see, what do we want to use here? Let's see how this one's gonna look. All right, so there we go. We added this one. Let's add an ID mask. And I'm gonna select this yellow surfaces for these kind of clips or however you might call them. All right, and then these like strings here, I'm gonna get those to be, let's try and look for some fabric maybe. And this green dirty fabric is a really good smart material here. As you can see, I can also use it for the jacket. It looks pretty nice. But let's stick with the letter one and also add an ID mask. And let's select the bright red. So there we go. We have it applied just to those strings. And that's the jacket piece. This is our layer set 1. And layer set 2, as you can see, I mean, it could work technically, but let's add a new layer set in here. And for this one, I'm going to select jacket 2. And actually, oops, what did I do? There we go. All right, so this one's going to be jacket 2. And for that one, let's add in, again, with this green fabric, just place it here. I was just thinking for my project, I might shortlist. Yeah, the AI generated ones are pretty cheap. And this tool that I'm using, 11 Labs, is actually for the $5 I think a month, you can get quite a bunch of dialogues generated. But yeah, there's so many tools out there, to be honest, nowadays with AI that yeah, it's just a matter of finding the proper voice that sounds to me the less robotic. All right, so let me adjust this a little bit. So there we go, just like that. All right, so we got some of this going here. Maybe what I'll do is in my layer set 2, let's also add like a graffiti or something. I think I was playing around with something earlier, like this little tag. We'll just see where to place it. Should be pretty fun to look at. And I think this one placing is going to be, I think freeform is the best option. Let me see. Do you have any ideas for a simple first game VDS? I don't know. I mean, are you just looking to practice, or are you thinking of actually trying to make a video game type of thing? All right, there we go. So we applied a little bit of a decal on here. Let's try and make it a little smaller. Oh, just as a practice. Um, I think if you look at it, the horror genre is a really big type of thing nowadays, and I think like also a particular what seems to be a pretty popular in there is, and I think it's pretty simple to implement, is like a monster chase. Like where you're in the environment and you have to perform some tasks while staying hidden so the monster does not detect you. And when it detects you, it's going to start looking for you. So you got quite a few pieces there. You can like have interactions with different objects. If you were to, your task is to search for something so you can exit a house, for example. And so, you have to search for like a journal to find where the key is hidden, and then, you know, uh, you can think of many, many details to add in here. And, that could also, like I said, it could, you could play with, the interactions with the inventory. You can play with the UI, and also with this, there's going to be the AI of the monster, that's going to walk around and chase you. So I think that that could be a really good practice. And the channel I mentioned, Ryan Laley, I think he actually has a series on creating I think it's also like a melee, also a shooter, but you get you really they put you through the basics of things. Dark mods, welcome, welcome. All right, guys. So we have this one. This has the texture here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and export it. And let's export it to library. And let me make this a little bit bigger. And the category is going to be outfits. All right, so let's export this real quick. And we'll move on to the next phase of actually making this fit the, um, the metahuman character and then getting it into the engine. All right, so now that we have this exported, let me see, hopefully I can remember how to get to it, and it should be right here. All right. It's actually kind of difficult. I don't think they have Mixer working properly with the bridge inside of the bridge plugging inside of the engine. I wasn't able to get it to I'm able to get it to load in bridge like this asset. So let's take a look at bridge. I'm just going to use that for now. And let's see if this one works. Under local, under mixer. And I was kind of thinking that it would have loaded in here, but like I said, this is the way they do the paths for the libraries is pretty, I don't know, not how I would do it, but let me see, where did this get exported? So when it comes to bridge mixer, it usually would export it into the library. And I was trying to connect this to my Quixel bridge as well, but it just doesn't work properly. So unfortunately, it's not as straightforward. And again, Mixer seems to be abandoned, unfortunately, for a tool. I haven't seen any new development for like the last, I don't know, like 2 years now. And yeah, which is sad because I thought it was a really amazing texturing tool. But everything gets exported here. And there we go. We have, actually, no, sorry, not that. It is here. And we have the women's jacket and the normal. The only trouble is, I thought that I already had exported this. Women's jacket tutorial. Try exporting this again and see if I can get the texture as well. Any Scout, Haley, how you doing? All right, let's see. This is kind of new for me too, trying to find where this thing got exported. There we go. So it was on the custom 3D Women Jack tutorial. Yeah, a lot of the way that they've set this up doesn't really make too much sense, but so goes for how they name some of these. But again, um, we have the jacket here. We have the FBX. How they come up with that name, I don't really know, but we have everything in here as far as we got the FBX, we got the textures. So let's bring this into the engine and we'll um, we'll uh, dress our metahuman up. Hey, Chrysaurus is live. Is this software paid like Substance Painter? No, this one Mixer is free, but this is, I believe, is a 2022. I think that's when they had the last release for this. So yeah, a couple of years old. Um, like I said, I think it's abandoned at this point. What it does have, it has an amazing smart materials library that you can tweak as well. So, and the generators, and I think it looks like the substance painter that I have is an ancient version is like 6 years old now when they actually got bought by Adobe. And and after that they went to the like service SAS, I think is like service as software or software as a service, where if you don't really own it, you still pay for it, but you don't own things. So which I hate that model. But yeah, um, this one's free. Mixer is free. But like I said, just the one caution is that um, doesn't seem to be updated in 2 years now. So, but with that said, I'm gonna rename some of these. I know I think I have a little tool that you can like rename assets in a folder, but I'm just gonna call this women jacket. And let's go into this tool that I'm using to parent these assets to a metahuman skeleton. So that tool is called, it's actually started from scratch, is also like a really early access from the looks of it tool, but it works. So it is called Meta Tailor. Actually, let me see. Hopefully I can put it here. So it's Meta Tailor like this. Now this is also a monthly type of thing. I think it's $35 a month. So I just got it this month, but so I'm gonna put it through its paces, generate all my um, all my clothing and kind of be done with it. I think it's a great tool, but I'm not sure if $35 is too much, especially if you want to keep it. I think they should have just made it as a buy once type of tool. But that's people are going to this software as a service type of model, so it is what it is. Okay. Well, so let's actually create a new project here, and I'm gonna create one for MetaHuman female clothing. All right, so creating the project. By default, it starts you with a basic skeleton. I'm not sure what the origin of it is, but what oh yeah, so Mira doesn't have Mira tool. I think it does actually. I'm not sure. I'm still just pretty basic when it comes to texturing in Mixer. I texture just enough to make things. I don't really get too particular. So I think I might have seen it as a mirror tool, Ghost Arts. All right, so once we're in here, um, you'll see that the tool itself has a marketplace with a bunch of assets. They're really okay when it comes to prototyping, but they're not, and they might be good as a kind of isometric type of game, but up close they're not that great. So unfortunately, I wish and I think they're probably still working on this tool, trying to make it better. But yeah, these are just probably for like prototyping things. So I'll show you how one of these look. Yeah, as you can see, it's good. It's not it's good from a distance, definitely, for like you know, a character that's, you don't interact with or you don't get up close with. I think it's totally fine. But let's bring in the first what I wanted to do, because this is not the skeleton that I want to use as a metahuman. So I'm going to import the avatars, and I've already done this. And let me just go ahead and delete this one so I can show you the process of bringing in a metahuman avatar in here. And actually, let's remove the male one as well. I'm not going to need these. All right. So for a metahuman, you probably already have it in whenever you export one from Bridge. So what they come in is as, let's take a quick look here. So they would come in as a BP and their name, Lucian, Pia, whatever you call them in MetaHumans. So I'm gonna use Mia, I mean Pia. So let's bring her into the world. There we go. Now, the way to export it is, what I've done is I've exported it without any shoes and no clothing, because when this tool is going to try and match outfits to the skeleton, if there's like anything other on top of it, it's not going to arrange it properly. So that's why I just have them with no clothing at all, or shoes, because I also want to get pants and shoes on here. So there we go. Now this is the female character, and the recommendation from the developer is to have its location at 000 when you export it. So there we go, we have it right here. And then you can just go ahead and export selected. And when you export it, just going to export it right here. And I'll go ahead and hit save. Nothing checked, and just export. All right, so now back in this tool, I'm going to go ahead and import. I'm going to import an avatar, and I'm going to import my metahuman body here. Now the tool is going to go through a few steps for setup. Like depending on where you want to move some of these things, like these are going to be points to assist with the placement of the clothing. And I usually just leave them as auto map. All right, so when you start working on this, I'm going to change to this avatar because this is our metahuman. And I'm going to look for clothes. So in clothes, just like with the avatars, you can go ahead and import them. So I'm going to go ahead and import my um, that asset that we just created. Let me see where that is. Hopefully I can find it again. That's not that. Let me see. It's this women jacket tutorial that we want to import things from. All right, so here we go. It's this one here. So there's our jacket. This is what we've imported. Well, we've exported from Mixer. Now we bring it here into this tool. Now, for this one, you can also set it up. Let's import the texture map just so that you have both of the materials. So let's import the texture map just to see how things are shaping along. So we got and I think that might actually be for the second material, and it doesn't. I think I was right with the first one. Let's go ahead. Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure why it's looking a little oddly colored like that, but let's also get the jacket too. I mean the second material. There we goes. And I think we'll do the normals as well. So there's that one. And jacket one, import, and we'll do the normal here. And let's see. It's kind of interesting why the diffuse looks like that. But let's also get in the roughness. So we got jacket one, and I think that's it for that. And jacket two, import the roughness. I think it's this one. There we go. Okay, so we got the jacket imported. Let's go ahead and hit next step. So now next step is going to be about trying to position this into a category first. And now we're going to try and position it as best as we can around the body. And we'll do some scaling just to see how as close as we can get to fit this. There we go. All right. So with that confirmed, we can do a little bit of, this is also a little bit of magic, which is pretty cool. So let's do this start pose match. And we'll try and adjust the bones of the character around this asset. So that's pretty close. Let's try and get it as best as we can. All right, I think that's pretty close. So let's confirm that. And now let's hit next step. I'm just going to try and focus on this before hitting the next step. And the software itself is going to try and position it on top of this. And that actually turned out much better than I was expecting. Like really, I wasn't expecting it would position it this as good as it just did. VDS, have you released a game before? No, I haven't. This is just a hobby for me. And yeah, working towards a game to release it. It's going to take a little bit of time, but yeah. And trying to share some of this things that I'm trying out and with the community. Hopefully it's helping other folks out there. All right, so we got this jacket in place. The cool thing about this is also when it comes to adding some pants. So I've already shown you in Unreal And I'm going to delete this because I have it exported. I don't need it again. So let's go to, I've shown you here that this character already has some pants going for it here. So let's go back into MetaTailor and add those pants, and I'll show you something cool. So what's really interesting about the tool is that depending on how you layer these, it's going to tuck the pants in or not. So now it kind of tucked the pants in, which is pretty cool. And this is what we want. Now, as you can see, they're still sticking out a little bit over here. So let's fix that. And that's pretty easy. The tool also comes with a bunch of these, these abilities to shrink wrap or like to try and match around the the skeleton mesh. And now, like the shrimp wrap, I don't want to push it too far because I also need to adjust the shoes. Like you can see, like at this point, the shoes are sticking out a little bit. So I need to fix that. But let's see how far we can push this. Yeah, see, and even if you try to mirror it even farther than that, it doesn't really work so well. I'm going to use this push-pull. So in push-pull, I can just, this is pulling, so if I keep hold down shift, I think it tells you if you just hover. So if you hold down shift, it's just going to push it in a little bit. So there we go. We just want to push this in, not too much. Let's see if we can get this to not overlap on top of this. And I think I might want to do just a sculpt original. Let me see if that's gonna, I think I might have sculpted the other one as well. So let's see if this does it. Not so much. Still sticking out a little bit. Let's try and see if I can get onto the top one and pull this section out a little bit. There we go. That's much better. And now we have that so it doesn't overlap with it. We have the pants. I just don't have the textures for the pants at the moment. I have them imported into the engine, so we'll take a look at once we export this and bring it into the engine. All right, let's see about adjusting this part with the feet. So I'm going to select the particular clothing here, which is the pants. The pants come with the shoes, so it's one mesh. But in here, I'm going to do a redo pose match. And I'm going to try and adjust the feet a little bit to come inside of the shoes. So let's see if this one, still not quite there. Let's see if we can do it a little bit better. Still not quite. And yes, like I said, with since these are all just different assets from like you know Sketchfab, they come in a variety of quality, better quality, lower quality, but they all work out pretty well in the end once you spend a little bit of time. Let's see why is this one? Like I said, this tool is still rather buggy. There's still some issues with it, but like I said, I think it's really early access. But overall, it does an amazing job. So let's see, can we get this in? That is really interesting why it doesn't want to overlap with that properly. Because I literally just used this earlier today, and I ended up with the result that we're seeing here. You know, where the shoes, they're actually pretty decently matched on top of the metahuman feet. This one is using the same skeleton, the same mesh, but the skeleton, the body is a little bit larger, being a male. So I'm going to try and re-export the body for the male to be underweight. This is normal weight, and So he's a little bit, you know, bigger than the female, and that's why you can see like some of this kind of just poking through. But let's go back in here, and I'm trying to figure out why this one did not overlap properly. Yeah, that's a good thing here. I'm not entirely sure why it does that. So let's try doing this again. Just trying to see if I mess it up a little bit, if um, if it's going to try and reset the positioning of these. Let's also, I'm going to try and turn on the knees and the elbows. Sometimes that can also assist with this. As you can see, like I have like the heels and the front feet. We'll see if this can help us position it within the shoe itself. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why that one's not generating properly, but I'm just going to remove it for now. And what we want to do is, since we have this already overlapping with the pants, let's go ahead and export this. So I'm going to export this as a woman jacket. And I haven't yet tried to export it with the textures as well, so we'll see if it exports the textures and it makes them in a hopefully easier to read format for me to import. And I don't want the avatar because I don't want the metahuman to be exported again. I just want the outfit. And I've already set up export location, so let's go ahead and export this. All right, so it also brought in the textures, which is awesome, though it still kept the same naming as from Mixer. Okay, so back in the engine, let's try and get that in here. And I have my character with with its you know varied uh, outfits, or like in this case, they're all going to be skeletons. But let's bring that one in. So I'm going to use it. I'm going to try and place it right here with this other jacket. And let's see, where did it bring it? Right there. Okay. So now I'm gonna import the skeleton, and when you import the skeleton, the this being this woman jacket, right? So in the skeleton, I'm just gonna select metahuman base skeleton right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and import. So there we go. It imported everything along with the textures. Not entirely sure why it creates all these additional ones. Uh, that part I don't really know. Like I said, first time trying to import to set up the the clothing item along with adding some textures to it. I've only done it just for the asset. That's all I cared about, and probably that's what I'm gonna do going forward because this is a mess. So I'm not entirely, like I said, I'm not entirely sure why it imports all of these. But now we have the woman jacket as a skeletal mesh. So let's apply it to our character. There it goes. And now let me just redo this material because also the materials are really messy. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm gonna create a material instance, and it's gonna be jacket. let me just bring it over here so I can show you. Just gonna use my just this basic material that I have. So we got normal roughness, and this is gonna be, since it's got two materials, this is gonna be number 1, normal, and oh, that's interesting. It it exported this as a gloss. I'm not sure if that came through from Mixer, or where did it come through as a gloss texture instead of the roughness. Hey Miles, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? So let me see from here. Should have exported the gloss. Did I? Maybe I imported the wrong one um, from the Mixer directory, and I definitely need to kind of clean things up a little bit. Oh yeah, I think I might have imported I was using maybe the gloss in the project. So there we go. We have the roughness. I'm gonna need to adjust it a little bit. They don't seem to be a one-to-one match between Mixture and Unreal sometimes. But there we go. We have the roughness applied to it. And I'm gonna go ahead and open this jacket up and apply the materials. This is one of the reasons it created a bunch of layers. When I don't recall, I only recall there being only 2 slots. So like I said, again, the tool is, it seems to be in an early alpha as well. There's still quite a number of bugs going on with it, but the nice thing about it is that when it comes to layering on top of things, and you can see like there's still a little bit of an issue here. I'm not sure if these were the original pants that I was using, but it also, like I said, it also depends on the how much time you spend in trying to align this to the metahuman body. But with that said, that was really easy to, download an asset um, from Sketchfab, texture it if you so want to in Quix and Mixer or Painter, whichever you choose, and then bring it into this meta tailor and literally just, like it said, tailoring it to to the body of a metahuman. And the exact same workflow is for any other skeletons, which is cool. It doesn't have to be a metahuman. Once you have the pose aligned so that the software can actually place the the clothing item on top of the skeleton, then you should be all set to export it. And that's what makes it really cool to use. So let me try and address the materials in here. But yeah, the reason why there's like 5 material slots, that I don't really understand. I'm wondering if it's something that has to do with the export settings, though I don't see any options in here that would tell me that it's going to generate like an extra 3 materials. So, but let's go back into Unreal. But this is easy to address. Once you have it in here, you can just bring it into Blender and remove the extra material slots. So that's not hard to do. It would have been great not to have to do it, but yes, yeah, I'm not sure exactly which one of these that one material is, and it seems it's not neither of those. Oh, my bad. I'm not using the right material. There we go. Oh yeah, it broke a bunch of pieces. Like, oh, I see. So it broke every single piece into one single material, which is a big Y. But yeah, there you go. I'm wondering if when you exported from, because what I did import into the tool is the actual mesh that got exported from Mixer. So since I think the original download did not have these pieces joined into one mesh, I think that's what might have caused this messy material setup. So what I usually like to do in this case, I kind of rush through it a little bit. I usually like to merge everything into one mesh, which to me makes a lot more sense than, and you'll notice that a lot of these assets coming from Sketchfab, they have different material parts and they all have different UV maps. Different tools used to make them, who knows. But I usually like to merge everything into one mesh and one material. Okay, so we have the jacket. Let's do the shirt underneath and shirt. Let's apply the materials to it as well. And it's interesting, for this one, it exported roughness. All right, so back into this jacket. Let's apply the material. And now I gotta figure out which one the shirt is. Okay, it's this one. And there we go. So back into our engine. There's our metahuman with the new jacket on that we got from Sketchfab. So if you were to go and interact with her, the meta the the asset just behaves as a regular cloth. And I'm not sure if is it a duplicate. I can't talk to them, but let's see. Can I talk to this guy? Why not? You don't want to talk to me or what? There we go. So as you can see, it follows the movement just like it would do with the regular skeleton. All right. And the other update that I wanted to show is, before what I was working on with you guys last week was this dialogue to generate the facial movements. And it was telling you to pick up this tablet off of the table. But I don't want you to do that because that would kind of force you into not having to interact with this character. So now when you talk to him, he's gonna be the one to give you the device. So once he gives you the device, then you just have it in your inventory and you can look at it and go through the uh, the quests. Hey Hisham, hey, hello, welcome. How are you doing? So yeah, that's kind of the update from this past week. Another thing that you might notice is what I mentioned at the beginning of the stream was that I was planning on using some kind of hats and some of these like caps that I wanted to bring into the game. And the main reason being, if I'm not using like the nice feature of the the hair strands, which let's see, would make things look like this, which they look really awesome, you know, but they sink performance like crazy. I've never seen anything that brings down performance like this. So while these look amazing, they're not game ready. So, I mean, they might be on like a 4090 or some kind of ridiculous video card, but not on mine. So it's I'm gonna go with not using, using cards instead of the strands, which just doesn't affect performance. But the hair itself, while the everything like chin related, so to speak, it's pretty well attached to the face. The hair doesn't seem to be too well attached, especially when the character will do like some head movements during chatting or anything like that. So I want to also make use of adding some hats, and that's also a lot easier because it's going to be a static mesh attached to a socket. So we'll do that probably for the rest of the stream. We'll play around with, bringing in some assets from Sketchfab, which a lot of them already look great, so not really too much of a need for retexturing. Though some of them might be like really high poly, so I'm going to end up, baking some of them. So for now, I'm just going to try and find one that's pretty low poly and looks, somewhat decent. Let's see. Maybe. Where did I look at one? So this one, I think this one would be a great example. Hey Hisham, I have a question about the engine. Yeah, go ahead, ask away. All right, so let's use this hat from Stubborn Funky Donkey. Cool, thank you. All right, so also a lot of these assets, they come in different formats, like an OBJ. I think you can import an OBJ into the engine, but I think it prefers FBX. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna do an FBX. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna have this downloaded and I'm gonna bring it into my Sketchfab clothing directory. All right, so there we go. We have that downloaded here. Let's extract it. And extract again because it's this oddity with that Sketchfab. Why Sketchfab does it that way, I'm not entirely sure. All right. So Hisham, I created an AI enemy system, but how can I make one attack damage multiple enemies? Oh, like an explosion. I think it's usually when people, whenever they do an explosion, I think they implement it with like it's a radial damage. I think it's what the node is called. So in um, in Unreal, you can apply damage, you can apply point damage, and I think you can also do apply radial damage. So that way, depending on the radius that you set it for the grenade, it's gonna send a message to everybody that receives this damage within that radius, right? So hopefully, did that make sense? Did that help? All right, so let's go back into an open Blender here, and I'm going to import this OBJ. Also, the other reason that I want to import the OBJ is because sometimes, as I was saying, there might be multiple materials for the same UV map, which again doesn't make sense. But like I said, it's a variety of assets on the every marketplace. This one seems fine. It's just one asset. Properly named UV map. That's nice. But for this one, I wanted to just have it um, as a static asset. So I'm going to do this. Cursor to selected. And there's our hat. Just going to quickly apply rotation and scale. And I'm going to export it back as an FBX. Oh, so I think you can just YouTube. Have you tried YouTube? YouTube has a lot of stuff on this, and you can try pinging me on Discord. I can try and at least point you in to some tutorial. Oh, VDS, thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. Can you share it for Hisham? Thank you. All right. Well, let's take a look at the textures. All right, so there we go. We have the textures here. They look pretty good. And let's go back into the engine and import it. So under clothing, I'm gonna make one for hats. Yeah, and Hisham, again, I'm not sure if hopefully you're not getting ahead of yourself. But I think, you know, try to understand how damaging works. If you already know how damaging works, then great. But if you don't really know how applying damage works, then try and look that first before going into something that's a little bit more complicated with, you know, like grenade and that kind of stuff. Okay, well, let's bring in, where's my hat? Should be somewhere in here. Hat, there it is. All right, and let's bring in the textures as well. Oh, Isa, hey, Isa Berk. Which GPU and CPU and GPU are you using on the system? So I have actually a pretty modern CPU. It's Intel i7, I think it's like a 12 gen. And the GPU is like first generation, like 1070. So I think it's probably like 10 years old now or something like that. It's a really old video card. But yeah, so decent CPU, old video card combination. All right, let's create a material for the hat. And I did not want to do that actually. Just gonna save some of these things before Unreal decides to quit. Hisham, I used the subtract. Uh, VDS, can you share it on Discord? And Hisham, hopefully you're on my Discord, but yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by I use the subtract. Maybe you can clarify that. And Isa, no problem, man. No problem. My pleasure. Any question, let me know. All right, let me delete this material that I've created because I want to create a material instance. So this is going to be hat. Let's try this one more time. Fabric material for the physical and then regular. And let's add the base, the normal, and the roughness. Base, normal, and rough. Excuse me. Um, yeah, so Hisham, I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to when you say I use the subtract. Use the subtract for what? That's the question. All right. Well, back in here. Um, yep, and there we go. And what I wanted to do is for one of my characters here, let's go and take a look at its head and the skeleton tree. So we need to find a place where to place a socket so we can attach a variety of different hats. And usually that's probably going to be somewhere on the head. Let's see, where is the head? So we got the neck 2. I'm trying to think where might be the best place to get this in. Let's see, we have the facial neck. This is a mess over there of bones. Um, hmm, 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 hmm. Neck 0, 2. So the neck has a ton. Oh, there we go. There's the head. And the head can do this. So I think this is a good place place a good place to place. It's a good spot right here to try and add a socket. So this is going to be called our hat socket. There we go. Now back into my character. Let's go ahead and open this up. And viewport, let's bring in that hat. Oh, I subtracted from the enemy health variable. Okay, yeah, that's good. But in that subtraction, so when you subtract from the enemy health variable, you need to know from which enemies to subtract, right? And I think that's where that radial damage comes in. So let's say you throw the grenade, once it lands, it should throw in a hit event, that it hit a surface. And at that point, you send out an event for this apply radial damage, and with a specific radius. And that way, the the people that will take damage will get uh, the damage subtracted from their health variable. So it's just a matter of figuring out, if you haven't already done that, if how to figure out how to send that radial damage. Does that make sense? All right, well, let's bring in a hat. So the hat is going to be placed onto the face, because the face is that part there. And let's see, where is my hat? There it is. So let's parent it to the face. There we go. And now for the parent socket. Parent socket, what did I call it? I think I called it a hat socket. So then parent socket is going to be hat. Oh, interesting. Why can't I? Oh, that's an interesting little thing here. Why can't I parent it to a socket? Let's try. I'm wondering if I'm going to try and place it one level above in the parent. See if it works in here. I can't seem to be able to parent it to something underneath that. Let's see, do I need to step up even higher up to its parent? Oh, that's interesting. So here I can search for something, but if I do it in here where I have the face, let me try it again into my metahuman character here. So if I try to place it here, oh yeah, sorry. So that's one of the troubles with that. I'm not sure if it might be um, let me ask you this. Do you know how to apply damage by, the apply damage event? Oh, okay, a damage custom event. Yeah, you could do that as well. That's totally fine. Um, there we go. Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that you know that you would need uh, to do, right? There's the throw of the grenade when it hits the ground, and then when it sends out this custom damage event. It just needs to um, have a radius set, and if it's a certain type of actors within that radius, then go ahead and you know deal the damage. So hopefully that's simple. So if it's in here, I can't select something. Huh. Well, that's a little bit of an issue. Why can't I select from you know select from the face basically? So from here, why can't I select a socket? Interesting. And while that's not necessarily an issue, because this could be done, I would think via a construction script. I'm wondering if we can do an attach component to component. Actually haven't tried this, so it's pretty much freestyling here. So this would be the hat socket. There we go. And snap to target, snap to target, snap to target. Let's see what kind of mess this creates. Oh, that was some mess. It did create a mess. Where did everything else go? Right? Let me close some of this stuff because we don't really need it. So yeah, we have the head socket. Oh, actually, I think it should have been the other way around. Let's try like this. Yeah, I'm using a line trace. How can I make it so the line trace does damage to all of them? Uh, yeah, see, I'm not entirely sure that's a good way to go. I'm honestly just telling you now. I think it's just you creating yourself more headaches than what it's worth. Um, because I'm not entirely sure how you would do that. I think instead of a line trace, maybe you want to do like a box trace. So I'm not sure if you can if there's like a sphere trace as well, but maybe you want to do a sphere trace or a box trace instead of. I'm not sure why you would do a line trace, especially if it's a grenade. So well, this one didn't really work. That's a bummer. I'm gonna need to try and figure out a way to attach the hat um, to that socket to the that's on the face. Let me try and move it outside of the face itself. Not sure if that's gonna help. I mean, I really wanted it to play it to use the parent socket because that's gonna follow the movement of the character, in the head. It would be I'm not entirely sure how easy it would be. Let's just place it at the top level here. How easy it would be if I just attach it to the face and then just try to adjust it with the location in here. It'd be pretty tough because they might be different heights for characters and so on. So probably not worth, not sure if it's gonna work out. So let's see if I just moved it outside, if this is gonna, yeah, that's not gonna work. Now the question is, where did the skeletons go? See if I jump into game mode, if we can look at one of those. Okay, yeah. So sphere trace. Oh no, there they are. Why would they not? Huh. I guess I needed to jump into game mode, or maybe needed to recompile itself. Okay. Well, so now let's try and adjust this socket. See if we can place the hat a little bit better. Now, the only thing is that every hat that I'm going to export is going to have to be um, with the same orientation and the same scaling, basically. So let's try this out. And sometimes what I like to do, usually you can position things at runtime. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm at runtime now, and I'm just trying to move. I should have just, probably placed um, the asset in here. Let's see if we can not snap that. It's probably at game time, so I'm not going to be able to set it properly, to try and adjust the socket size. But it's pretty close. And that's actually kind of closer than I would expect. Um, so Go starts. Not sure, but I think you can get the location of hit actor. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for giving that suggestion to Hisham. Well, I think that's going to be a good placement for that. And now we can just stop this. And did that save it? I think maybe it didn't. So in that case, I'm just going to go ahead and add a preview mesh to this socket. Let's see, where is it? Add socket. Let's add a preview asset, and this is going to be hat. So there we go. Actually, that fits. It seems to be made for his head. That fits it really well. That's cool. All right, I'm not entirely sure why these didn't update. I'm thinking when I restart the engine, they might be okay. But there we go. So now we're not gonna need to have um, a hair. And even for the women, I could just, well, I mean, I guess they could be like the simplest of the hair selection, but especially for the men, there's not going to be any groom for the hair. There's only going to be the beard, which already looks pretty good. And whenever they talk, they keep with the facial movement really well. Whereas I was mentioning, the hair is um, is a different story. The hair is it looks like it's just jiggles around. It's kind of like Jello. So the hat is an should be a good one for the men for the male players. So yeah, there we go. The the cloth, what we've made, what we've exported from Sketchfab. We have the it it matching the female metahuman body, and it would probably match the male as well, but maybe not so well. There might be some parts of the skeleton kind of poking through, but there we go. So let me apply the material to the hat. Let's see how it looks. This is actually a really good looking hat. I have to give it to the developer. It actually fits the head really nicely. I'm wondering if they actually made it on a metahuman head, because it seems to be made exactly for a metahuman head. So yeah, there we go, guys. That's some of the update from this past week, namely the ability for the NPC to hand the player something, and there's going to be other NPCs that are gonna do the same. The How I've kind of my process to getting some of these clothing assets onto a metahuman, and from there onto any other skeletons. Again, with this meta tailor tool. Like I said, I am just gonna power use it for the next month to get all my assets into it, and that's um, that's gonna be it, which is still good. I'm happy with being able to use it for that time. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Tomorrow, what I'm hoping to do is I to go back into the main level and try and kind of create the first mission where you get to meet this other person and assist her with taking out a couple of guards. So hopefully that's going to be interesting. And Hisham, yeah, just ping us on ping Discord. Maybe um, maybe we can figure out what's going on. All right. Yeah, thank you, VDS. Thank you so much. Great to have you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.